Hello and welcome to another Moser. As quarantine continues, we get a lot more shows. Like, 3 more than last time. So in order for this to go as fast and as quickly as possible...
Never make that freaking joke again, you son of a biscuit!
Whatever, just introduce yourself. I don't want to die.
Fine. Hello, I am QuicksandQueen114, or you can just call me Quicksand. I do videos and I voice act for Nev's crappy show, and you better subscribe to my channel. Also, I really don't want to do this without my boyfriend, so here he is.
Ow, what the fuck?
Wait, what in the
Oh, hey, I guess I'm here now. Wait, is this recording at all?
Just introduce yourself. We literally have no time for this.
Oh, okay then. Hey, I'm 𝕊𝕊 I voice act for a lot of shows, and I've got a show in production right now, actually. I plan for it to be better than Nev's show because, what else do you strive for? Also, I don't know what the hell is going on here because I was dragged here like every other day, so what's going on?
I'll explain to you later. We have like 10 shows to review.
Nev, I swear to God.
So let's get into this month's Moser. MOSER20's April. Okay, so I missed this from last month, but I think it's still valid to review this now.
Nev, you lazy bitch.
Children, shut up! You're both beautiful! But anyways, let's talk about the writing of this episode. The writing was practically flawless. The jokes in this episode were great. I think Nev had a freaking stroke halfway through.
Yep, definitely did.
Yeah, the writing was on point. I really enjoyed the overall dynamic the script was trying to set up, so kudos to them. However, some of the characters didn't really get enough screen time, like Candy Corn and Slushy to name a few.
However, as great as the writing was, I didn't like some of the voice acting. Some of the voice actors had an extremely good delivery for lines, like Conditioner and Snowy. Towel had sometimes though, as some parts were really hard to understand.
But let's talk about the auto-tuned characters, Phone and TV. My overall summary for both these voices is... I could hardly understand what they were saying a lot of the time, and I had to rewatch them just to comprehend what they were saying.
Although, huge fucking props to Vince for animating the entire episode by himself. I have nothing really to say about the animation. It was smooth and extremely proportionate. Literally nothing was done lazily, and I'm extremely impressed.
Yeah, however, the design did not match up for me at all. The assets were really nice. I love TV's shatter, which is really hard to make perfectly, so props to whoever made that. The only issue is the background. Like, come on, who else just creates a really good sky and puts a green square at the bottom of it? That's really lazy.
The sky looks beautiful, but the green block that is meant to be grass doesn't match at all, and it really bothered me throughout the episode. Other than that, the design was really nice.
The aesthetic was rather pleasing, however, the volumes varied between the characters, which really bothered me, as one may be a lot quieter than the other, but another one may literally destroy my ears. But other than that, we should get to the scores. I'll give writing 5 points, 3.5 for voice acting, 5 for animation, 4.5 for design, and 4 for aesthetic, giving my score a 22 out of 25 points.
I'll give writing a 4.5, 3 for voice acting, 5 for animation, 3.5 for design, and 4.5 for aesthetic. That'll be 20.5 out of 25 points.
I'll be giving a 4.5 for writing, 3.5 for voice acting, 5 for animation, 4 for design, and aesthetic gets a 4, giving a total of 21 out of 25.
And now on to the second review.
Could they not come up with a more creative name?
Okay, so this episode was really incredible when it came to its animation. Like, Rainbow Star's animation when she caught the ball and left the trail behind her, that was dope. And those highly creative perspective shots on Lighthouse Shed. I really like it when shows do that. Also, with the transition of unregistered Hypercam 2 was fire. That was the kind of fourth world breaks I love to see in shows.
I'd have to agree here. Rainbow Star's animation was greatly executed, and the transition with unregistered Hypercam 2 was amazing. For a BFB-styled show, the animation is pretty good, actually.
The visuals of this episode are also stunning. I need them, send them to me, please!
However, there is a main issue here, and that is the script. I get it, it's a really big cast, but they sometimes focus on characters way too much, and I literally cannot name half of the contestants. Besides, some of the parts felt rushed as fuck, like the elimination scene, only showing the votes without anything else. Also, the challenge was extremely basic and was written poorly, as it didn't focus on all of the teams, and focused on just like 3.
We only saw a few of the teams actually submit, and we didn't even see who submitted. A redeeming quality about the script is the humor. The jokes always land perfectly, and also we stand bed. I think my mouth is broken.
Yeah, Bed's voice acting was hilarious to listen to. However, I could say the rest of the voice acting was meh. I didn't really enjoy some of the voice acting because some of the voices just sounded so monotone. 𝕁𝕁𝕃𝕋𝕼 voice was really annoying to listen to, as it just didn't fit the character.
Honestly, I really didn't like 𝕁𝕁𝕃𝕋𝕼's voice. It sounded nasally, it's so auto-tuned. I legitimately took my headphones off when he was talking.
In my opinion, I feel as this show is trying to be like BFB, but failing.
I think we can all agree that the aesthetic was pretty dope, so we should just get to our scores. I'll give 3.5 for writing, 4 for voice acting, animation gets 5, design gets 5, and aesthetic gets 5. A total of 22.5 out of 25.
I'll give it 2.5 for writing, 3.5 for voice acting, 5 for animation, and so does the design and aesthetic, giving it a total of 21 out of 25 points.
I'll be giving 3 for writing, 4 for voice acting, 5 for animation, design gets a 5, and aesthetic gets a 5. Overall, a 22 out of 25.
And now, on to the next review. So, this was certainly something?
Well, first off, the writing was not good at all. The elimination was completely rushed.
I agree. I'm not exaggerating when I say the elimination scene was under a minute long. I also really don't like the opening scene that much. I felt like it dragged on a minute too long, but I really loved the challenge.
In my opinion, the writing was all over the place. It definitely focused on Cup way too much. It feels like the show was following Cup more than following an actual show with more contestants. For example, Pool, Popsicle, Water, and Dollar, and Jellybean got close to no lines. Really annoyed me how some get so much screen time more than others. They tried to be funny with the montage, but it didn't work, and that was just bothering. Also, the elimination tiebreaker was actually fucking stupid, like 5 seconds. It felt like such a rush for an elimination. Although, I gotta say, I liked the little twist of having the second antenna. That was done really well.
However, a lot of the other lines were poorly executed, and they just sounded cliche. There were also some parts that I could see dragged the episode on, like the part where the contestants were like, we were first, we were second, we were last. Nobody cares, you just need to build a fucking robot. Who cares about the order?
Well, let's talk about the animation. I have hardly any issues with the animation other than a few odd poses here and there, but the animation for the robots fighting was spectacular. Also, Grapefruit Sands now exists and I need to have it.
You aren't getting it.
The only thing I didn't like about the animation is the spray paint. He didn't even press on the button of the spray paint and just held it. It really bothered me. How does he press? How does
he press it?
What is this
What?
sorcery? Although another main problem I had was voice acting. I mean, sure, you can give the argument that they recorded it like a year ago, but they could have re-recorded them quite easily. It made a huge impact on the episode with voices such as Skittle, Button, Paper, Phone, and iPad were either extremely monotone with no emotion, such as Button, iPad, and Phone, or their pitch was extremely annoying, like Paper and Skittle. But other than those 5, the voice acting was decent. I really like Keiki's voice acting. Delivery is always on point.
The design, I think we can all agree, is freaking 5 out of 5. The robot designs were really creative and overall assets and background were remarkable.
The aesthetic was generally pleasing. However, some of the music really annoyed me. New Friendly and Kevin MacLeod music, like that's really the best you could use? I mean, don't get me wrong, I like their music, but it's way too overused at this point.
I can agree with that. It had a lot of overused music, even when they could have easily found new ones. But now we should get to the scores. I'll give 3 points for writing, 3 points for voice acting, 4.5 for animation, 5 for design, and 3.5 for aesthetic. A total of 19 out of 25.
I'll give the writing a 2.5, 3.5 for voice acting, 4.5 for animation, 5 for design, and 4 for aesthetic, for a total of 19.5 out of 25 points.
I'll be giving the writing a 3.5, animation a 4.5, 3 for voice acting, 5 for design, and 4 for aesthetic, summing up to 20 out of 25. Now let's get into the 4th show!
Hey, what the f? Honestly, for the first episode, this was hilarious. Not hilariously bad, just hilarious writing-wise. The jokes really landed, and the concept of this show is actually really creative. Even though it's not produced at its best, the writing is definitely good for a start. Sure, it may not be the best, with the amount of times they mention Skittles and stereotypes, but I'm sure it can improve.
I agree, the writing was not at all terrible, but I had some issues with it. Like, how many times were Skittles mentioned? I couldn't count. Plus, some of the writing dragged on a little bit, but it wasn't too terrible.
The characters did seem really cool, and you can tell that this show was made for the sake of the fun of it and not to make it big in the community, which I can respect. Although, yeah, the Skittles joke made me think at one point that this was a joke show. Why is everything Skittles?
Other than that, the voicing was pretty okay. I think the recording quality wasn't at its best, but they were pretty expressive and gave emotion. Except for SD Card's voice acting, it was really monotone. And if I'm being completely honest, having text-to-speech as a voice actor was low-key funny.
I didn't really like it. Although the text-to-speech voice was pretty funny, it distracted me a lot. I can't tell if SD Card is supposed to be the monotone voice in this show. His writing didn't suggest it, but his voice sounded like it, which really confused me.
I agree. The voicing for SD Card could use some work, but all the other voices were great.
Really, the animation was pretty inconsistent, and the drawing looked really poor, but it did have a pretty good splash effect when the lava was rushing into the city, and I honestly liked some of the shots.
Even though you can tell the animation isn't all that neat, I gotta give the credit that this was all made in, I'm assuming, flip-a-clip, frame by frame, and I think that may be part of the style. May not look the prettiest animation, but it's quite impressive.
The animation was confusing to figure out. It changed style several times. However, there were some really cool parts to it, like how the mountain was revealed to be a volcano. Some of the transitions were pretty well executed too, which was good for the first episode.
Design-wise, it was pretty okay. It looked really pixely and sometimes too vibrant with colors, but I like what they tried to go for here. It's really cool, and I think the export quality just ruined it.
Yeah, I agree. Design-wise was alright, I guess. The colors hurt my eyes at times, and the assets for a lot of stuff didn't really fit in with the rest of the style, including the random Skittles that appeared throughout the episode. Some of the buildings were poorly drawn, but I like the detail on some of them as well.
I can agree, but if this show is done in something like Flip-a-Clip, I can totally understand why the designs are the way they are. But I like the cityscape shot we got shown. It was quite fascinating to look at and reminded me of the Yoyle City in BFDI.
Aesthetic-wise, the audio was okay, I guess. I could hear the voices pretty fine, and the music did fit for each scene. So, we should get to the scores. I'll give writing 4 points, voice acting gets 3 points, animation gets 3.5, design gets 3.5 points, and aesthetic gets 5. A bonus 5 for plot creativity and jokes. So, a total of 24 out of 25 points.
I'll give the writing 2 points, voice acting 2.5, animation 3.5, design 3, and aesthetic a 3.5. That's a total of 14.5 out of 25 points.
Writing for me will get a 3, voice acting gets a 3, animation gets a 3, design gets a 3.5, and so does the aesthetic. That adds up to 16 out of 25.
And now, on to the next review. Well, the writing for this episode was decent. It had pretty good jokes, and the challenge was pretty clever. However, it was executed poorly. It was extremely anticlimactic, especially near the end when Sun's team loses. Just like, lol, yeah, your team is up for elimination, sorry. I think screen time between characters was really uneven too. Like with Bali and Fan in volleyball, even though they were out of the challenge, I just literally forgot about them as the episode went on.
I can agree. The writing for the challenge was not that well executed. It just seemed bland. The opening scene I also didn't really like, as it sort of just dragged the episode on.
The voice acting needs a lot of work. 80% of the characters sound the same, and I think Tropical should really hire more voice actors. And also work on his voice acting since they sound so lifeless and monotone.
Other than that, I think the animation was pretty nifty, especially in its own unique posing style, as Tropical animated all by itself.
The design is subpar. The backgrounds are what really get me. I understand some of the backgrounds actually look pretty nifty, but some of them just look like a green rectangle that changes colors every new scene.
Aesthetic-wise, the music was pretty okay, but the voices were really fucking low on volume, and it was hard to hear them.
That was a quick review. Let's get to the scores. I'll give it 3 for writing, 2.5 for voice acting, 4.5 for animation, 3.5 for design, and 2 for aesthetic. That gives it a total of 15.5 out of 25 points.
I'll give 3.5 for writing, 2 for voice acting, 4 for animation, 3.5 for design, and 3 for aesthetic. 16 out of 25 is the total score. Yikes.
I'll give 3.5 for writing, 2 for voice acting, 5 for animation, 4 for design, and 2.5 for aesthetic. A total of 17 out of 25 points. And now, on to the next review.
I'm honestly speechless at how amazing this ended up being.
Undeniably so. The writing for this show is really interesting. The plot with Ice Cream Sandwich is trippy as hell, and I want to see what it develops to.
I know I worked for the show, and I may seem a bit biased for being able to comment, but oh my gosh, the story going on involving bubblegum, ice cream sandwich, and lava lamp is intriguing. The first time I saw the scene with Ice Cream Sandwich in his trippy moment and the ending scene with that monster thing, I legit got the chills.
The only problems I had with this episode is that Ice Cream Sandwich's voice seemed a little off. Roof Tile didn't have any lines, unless he's supposed to be the silent character, and the designs for the humans could be a little bit better.
I really only have one criticism about this episode, and that is Lava Lamp's voice is extremely monotone and enough emotion. It really bothers me. As a host, he should be more energetic and expressive. If no one has anything else to say, we should get to the scores.
To score, I'm giving 4.5 for writing, 4 for voice acting, and everything else gets a 5. A total score of 23.5 out of 25.
I'll give writing a 4, voice acting a 4.5, and everything else a 5, plus a 5-point bonus for creativity. In total, that's a 28.5 out of 25 points.
I'm gonna give 5 for everything except voice acting, which gets 3.5. So in total, 23.5 out of 25. And now, we should get on to the next review. So, this is the first show to review this month that I worked for, and I really like the writing for this. It's really intriguing.
I had no issues with the writing at all. Good show, continue.
Voice acting was pretty good, except for Cups. It's not really a good fit. Hopefully that can improve in episode 5.
Oh, fuck you, it's 10 months old.
Oh my god, fuck off with the 10 puns.
Shut the fuck up.
So anyway, aesthetic was pretty good. The music really fit, and I really liked the slowed version for the scene that Starry was being sleepy.
Something I really liked about the animation is the scene with Starry and Wallet when Starry was sleeping and Wallet was carrying her. The arm movement was incredible. Even though it's one slight part of the episode, it's something worth mentioning.
I think the design was also pretty nice. However, I do have a complaint about the sky. The stars shine way too much than they are intended to be. Just a small thing that can be easily fixed though, so I'm not going to count that against you. And I think with that, I feel like we should get to our scores. I'll give writing a 4.5, voice acting a 3.5, animation a 5, design a 4.5, and aesthetic will get a 5, getting a total of 22.5 out of 25 points.
I'll give writing 5 points, voice acting 4, animation gets 5, design and aesthetic gets 5. A total of 24 out of 25 points.
Writing for me will get a 4.5, voice acting a 3.5, animation a 5, design gets a 5, and so is the aesthetic. Total score of 23 out of 25. Now on to the next show.
I honestly didn't know how to feel about this episode. It honestly seemed like a massive downgrade. It was really disappointing.
I understand that we have a lot of new animators to the team, but I feel as they were too generous when giving animator roles to people because so many scenes were inconsistent with the standard BFB style, and it was really irritating to watch at times. It was really distracting, if anything.
Yeah, the episode itself felt extremely off. Some of the writing didn't also feel BFB-ish, like Flower narrating who is on her team, and Ruby having that reference to Mean Girls. Just felt more of a fanfic episode than an actual BFB episode.
The overall aesthetic of this episode was great, although the music choices were quite off at times and out of place.
I can completely agree. The scene where Bubble and Ruby are talking about Leafy being on their team didn't really match the music, it just didn't fit at all. And it was just off to me. Same thing happened when the 4-color team was getting X. The music was really unsettling.
Design-wise, everything was dope. It looked like regular BFB and I'm impressed by the designers they hired.
I can agree. The voice acting also stayed true to the BFB style, which I'm happy about. Let's get to the scoring. I'll give writing a 3.5, voice acting a 5, animation a 2, design a 5, and aesthetic a 4. A total score of 19.5 out of 25.
I'll give writing 3 points, 5 for voice acting, 2.5 for animation, 5 for design, and 3.5 for aesthetic. A total of 19 out of 25. I'm sure the crew can improve, especially animators. Hope to see you improve it by next episode.
I'll give writing 3 points, voice acting will get a 5, animation gets a 1.5, design gets a 5, and aesthetic a 2.5, for a total of 17 out of 25 points.
Y'all are too freaking harsh with your scores, jeez.
Okay, good cop, son of a biscuit.
Anyway, on to the next review. This is overhyped, lol, next. Okay, in all honesty, this episode was more cliche than Total Drama Island. The whole thing feels like a complete ripoff, just way more boring. The sudden change of Yarny's personality really annoys me. Like in the start, she is protective and stand up for herself, but literally 5 minutes later, she's a scaredy cat for the rest of the episode.
Yeah, a lot of the episode's writing and story is so simple and cliche and doesn't feel anything new to me other than being another basic object show. Also, a lot of the characters didn't get as much screen time, like Cherry for example didn't even talk until nearly the end of the challenge, only for her to be eliminated first episode. And also her crying was so cringy and hard to watch. Cherry, you're not a baby, you're the entire nursery.
I'm just going to get straight to the point. This was not good at all. Way too overrated and overhyped. Then again, it is in episode 1, my specialty, but 9 months for this? Seriously? The writing was not good at all, introducing only half the competitors by the first scene, then suddenly showing all the contestants. Also, we never found out where the nail trail led to. Why the cliffhanger? The animation was decent, but there was some stuff that bothered me.
Oh yeah, although the animation has some flaws, there was some impressive animation, like the scene with Banana trying to wake up Grassy, for example. Also, when we watched this episode together, this happened.
That she kind of looks like Bendy a little.
Who?
Bendy.
What?
She died!
Oh!
What?
You wanna know what Chubby just said?
What?
I said, can I call her gay Bendy? Oh my gosh! Ew, he's crying!
Yeah, the voice acting in this was pretty decent-ish. Some had a really monotone voice like Umbrella and Bottle, or they were kinda quiet like Soapy and Cherries. And also, Painty's voice was actually so annoying, and it's so hard to understand her with such a high pitch.
I hate Paint Palette's voice because the voice doesn't sound natural and authentic, making it just sound awful in general.
I could agree with that. Paint Palette's voice doesn't really fit in. It sounded like she was voice cracking every 15 seconds.
Although, I gotta give it to the design. I think the only thing that I didn't like was the cabin. It looked really unappealing. Also, I gotta give it to who had the idea of the Paint Palette TV screen. That was a really nice creative touch, and it's really impressive how they thought of that.
The backgrounds were really cool too. Like when they were in the cave. I can tell the designing team put a lot of effort into those. Same with the beach house background, that was pretty cool as well.
The aesthetic for the episode was decent, although the jokes didn't really land well and a few of the music selections weren't that great.
Yeah, definitely. Like Ben's joke about calling him fat didn't land at all to me. Probably because of the music that kept on going as he said it. But either way, we should get to the scores. So, I'm gonna give 2 for writing, voice acting gets 3.5, animation gets 4, design gets 4, and aesthetic gets 2 points. A total of 15.5 out of 25.
Oh gosh, this was difficult to score. I'll give writing a 2, voice acting 3.5, animation 4, design a 4.5, and aesthetic a 3.5. The total score is 17.5 out of 25. Was I too generous?
Writing is a 1.5, voice acting a 3, animation 3.5, design a 4, and aesthetic a 2, for a total of 14 out of 25 points. Now onto the 10th and final review. See what I did there?
I regret putting you in this episode.
So, this is the 10th review, huh?
Shut up.
The writing for this episode was amazing. A lot of the jokes cracked us, and the fact that the storyline of Toon and his evil side is still going on is incredible. Other than the challenge being not that original, I have no criticisms with this episode's writing.
Dude, I love how the bowling ball is back. It's such a nostalgic touch, especially with Toon's evil side still being a thing. Honestly, I didn't quite like Cactus's change in personality from episode 1. That felt really off for his character. Also, the 15-minute cut was actually kinda pointless. I think they could have just removed it. Also, I didn't like the challenge. It's really repetitive. It was on at least 2 more shows this month.
I love where the plot is going too. I suspect there will be a perfumed Toon Biscuit arc in the future. I also heard a laugh that almost sounded like Gun, so I'm excited to see where it goes from there.
Since Ned was a voice actor, he has to shut his stupid mouth up for this part.
Oh god damn it.
The voice acting was good. Shamrock's voice acting improved a lot from last time. Biscuit's voice also improved a little bit too. Also, Toon's voice is amazing. He's the only auto-tuned character I actually enjoy, because I can tell what he's saying. The only complaint I have with it is that Flowerpot's voice sounded a little echoey, but that wasn't a huge distraction.
I love Football's voice, and I absolutely love when he said, "This sucks, you suck, everything sucks!" I have no issues with the voice acting.
The animation was incredible, really. It all stayed the same style and had some really good visual perspective for the scene.
The designs were flawless. Not much else to say other than the bodies and backgrounds look great.
Yeah, I agree. The cave background in particular looked amazing. The assets are pretty cool too. Except Lego, his asset is just really bland.
Honestly, something about the aesthetic was really pleasing to me. I literally did not notice how there was no background music. That's honestly really dope. But now we should get to the scores. So I'm gonna give 4 for writing, 5 for voice acting, 5 for animation, and 5 for aesthetic and design. So 24 is 25 points.
Writing for me will get a 4.5 and everything else gets a 5. That's a total of 24.5 out of 25. I'm sorry.
I'll give writing a 5, voice acting a 5, 5 for animation, 4.5 for design, and 4.5 for aesthetic, for a total of 24 out of 25 points. I think we've all had our taste of good cop, innocent cop, and bad cop today.
I was way too generous, but I don't care. Screw Nev.
I really regret having you two.
I don't even know why I was brought here, but whatever, I actually enjoyed it.
I can do whatever the hell I want.
But anyway, go check both of their channels out. 10 is an upcoming show, and you should subscribe to Quicksand because she voices in both of my shows. And also, if you don't, she'd kill me. I'm being held hostage, please help me.
Why was I dragged here again?
Well, I'm taking him to my Quicksand dungeon now, so later, loser.
Wait, what the fuck?
Well, this was the worst episode yet. But anyway, see you all next time.
Ah! Oh.
Oh, that was such a fucking worst scream I ever heard. Ah!
that reaction.
Wow!
Ah!
Wow!
Ah!
I can't have crap.
What? Whoa, whoa, whoa! What is that? What is that? Is that cup? It looks like it looks like Object Illusion's fucking kettle. Dead fucking ass. Really? The nut shop? Really?
God! I'm done!
I just realized. Hold on. He's electric. Why does he drink water?
Debunked! Smartphone's a fucking
Theory.
wizard!
This wasn't even a real stadium!
What did you expect? It's Object Invasion. Do you think they really put effort to something?
I should have been eliminated.
Same.
Attaboy.
Oh, ew! What the fuck?
Ew! I hated that!
No!
I don't see the exit.
Hey, nice voice acting, by the way.
10, I swear to fucking God, I will literally murder you. She looks like an elephant.
Oh yeah, true!
Oh yeah, she does it!
A meanie beanie weenie linguini.
I hope you realize that's
You
dumb.
can't make me bite.
Yes,
Yikes.
fucking die, baby.
Notebooks team wins this.
It's Notebook's team, but Notebook literally only said 2 sentences.
Can someone get me an AR so I can shoot the fucking screen? This is when you realize something's up, when someone's little sister is funnier than a 19-year-old.
That's just a yikes. Ugh.
These types of challenges are starting to get redundant.
Wait a minute!
Why?
Olo also had this challenge!
Sort of, yeah, but in a different way. Yeah.
Why is everything just about finding stuff?
This sucks, you suck, everything sucks.
Us watching Olo.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Oh, not you. Why does that look like a strip?